remotely, we work at our workplaces. The world is just at the process of reopening again. And therefore, it is nice. We used to consider it nice to have the digital expertise or skills. But today, for most organizations, it is a must have. You either have it or you lose it. And therefore, consequently, digital transformation enable us to do that which we have to do. The problem solving focus is key for us, and therefore it is imperative for universities that the transformation brought about by digital technologies cannot be ignored. Um, when we look at the world today, the fourth industrial revolution is with us, and many of the technological changes that have taken place, unless we delve into the digital transformations in our higher education, how are we going to cope with the world as it is today? Now, in our institution, Mount Kenya University, we have delved into these digital technologies in almost all areas of our endeavor. But I will narrow my presentation to the area of teaching and learning. And therefore, in enhancing the digital learning, we have done so many innovations. And some of the innovations are with regard to the digital learning technologies. We have also delved into the instructional modalities. We have looked into the personnel and the support services. We have also had to innovate on our organizational policies and planning, and we have also looked into the development of our instructors and the development of our learners. But at the same time, as Professor Wanderi puts it, we have also looked into the issue of partnerships with the various other organizations for the purpose of improving on our delivery, not only to within the organization, but also to our external partners. Um, I would like to look at these areas individually, given the opportunity, and allow me to start with the area of digital learning technologies. Now, the digital learning technologies is grounded in the digital technologies that play a very crucial role in the teaching and learning activity. These technologies are used in various instructional modalities to engage our learners, the instructors, and we can therefore be able to provide learning solutions within the university. However, effective digital teaching and learning in higher education settings require significant increases with regard to the infrastructure to support these technologies. Now, some of the commonly used digital teaching and learning technologies include: one, we have the learning management system, which is very key. The learning management system provides the backbone on which the course materials, the modules, and the activities of the teaching and learning occur. And it is therefore important that the instructor uses the same. We can be able to send the announcements, engage in discussions, develop and grade assignments, and also maintain an online grade book in the learning management system. We also consider the synchronized technologies, and the synchronized technologies here are used to conduct real-time online meetings. These technologies include the various functionalities such as the audio, the video, the chat, the screen sharing, among others. These functionalities can help the instructors to maintain interactivity in the online classroom setup. We also have the multimedia applications, and these multimedia applications can engage learners, and these include the video, the audio, and other interactive elements within the learning management system. The multimedia software can be used to record the micro lectures and demonstrations and orientations. And some of these applications are purchased, but we also have the open sources. We also utilize the collaborative applications like the web-based or cloud-based word processing, the presentations, the social participation, and the whiteboard um, applications, among others. We also have the cloud-based technologies, and for these, the universities rely on various applications. And some of these can be purchased, others can be used to store files, and they can enable you to access information anywhere in the world. We also cannot forget about the emerging technologies like the artificial intelligence, the augmented reality, the analytics, and other emerging technologies. And therefore, these can, at the end of the day, influence how we teach, the teaching methods, and the learning experiences that our learners encounter in our learning management system. Now, my list here is not exhaustive, and therefore, what I'm trying to say is that the digital learning technologies are vast, and the framework, the springboard, is the learning management system. And within the learning management system, the different applications will be determined by the various universities depending on what they want for their students. The second area for consideration is the instructional modality. And for the instructional modality, we consider the type of computer technology that we can be able to utilize to enhance the learning of our students. We have the on-campus technology that could be enhanced. We also have the hybrid or the blended that involves the in-person and the online interaction um, with the students. It can be on campus, it can be online learning. We also have the asynchronous online, and this modality, teaching and learning, can occur online without any real-time meetings. We can also utilize the synchronous online, where we have the real-time meetings. We can also talk about the bichronous online, where we can blend the asynchronous and the synchronous, and we can also delve further to the HyFlex, which we normally utilize for our blended or the hybrid learning. It can be related to the hybrid and the blended learning, but it allows students to choose their own modality based on their needs and their daily circumstances. Now, another area that is also very key is with regard to the personnel and the support services that are given. For us at Mount Kenya University, we have invested very highly in our trainings, and the trainings are with regard to support services for both the personnel at the university and the students. These include the instructional designers. We also have the technology support specialists who help us with regard to the delivery of content to our students, and they are there 24/7. We can also talk about the academic and student support services from the Odell Directorate, and these student services range from registration, academic advising, the study, strategy consultations, among others. We also provide incentives and recognitions with regard to the innovations that have been provided in the digital platform, innovations that have been provided with regard to the provision of services. Like presently, we are preparing for the student election, which has also been digitized. We also have a quality management system that is fully functional and it is digitized. Another area for consideration is also the organizational policies and planning. It means that as we talk about digital transformations in higher education, there is no one who is supposed to be left behind, because we have to develop policies and standards. And of course, the policies must be acknowledged by the managers and the administrators at the university, and the implementers also play a very key role. There has to be strategic planning. And strategic planning, in this case, we are talking of the process of defining a strategy as well as deciding on the resources that are allocated for the pursuit of this particular strategy. We also have a funding model for the online courses, because these online courses provide opportunities for campuses to offer differential tuition rates, since the students do not have to be on campus, and therefore they can pay their fees anywhere in the world, and they can access the resources anywhere in the world, despite distance, despite time. We also it also enhances the equitable learning opportunities, particularly with regard to the people who are enabled differently. And hence, the policies and planning help us to reduce that digital divide, which is very essential. Now, besides that, we also talk about the instructional modalities. And the instructional modalities, in this case, we are talking about the instructor development. The instructor development here, we are talking about the pedagogical and technological skills that we give to our faculty, and also with regard to changing the beliefs of our faculty with regard to their attitude towards the digital space. We also enhance accessibility of the faculty, and also consider the intellectual property rights and the copyrights as we develop our resources. I would also like to mention the learner development, where we support our learners, and this is done through the Odell Directorate. Now, the computers and the internet access is provided for by the university. The time management and the self-regulations provided for by the self-paced learning resources that we have in our robust Sakai system, and then the instructional content and the people who guide the students. We have a help desk which is operated 24/7, and that enables the students to get assistance when need arises. We also are building a community of learning groups. We call them community of learners, and here students get the opportunities that they need, the social communities and the platform for social interaction. They are able to interact among themselves, and technology is looked at with regard to time management, with regard to resource provision, with regard to self-regulation and engagement, and help-seeking strategies are also provided. And lastly, I would like to mention that partnerships. These partnerships are key, and we were able to see the essence of partnership during the COVID-19 time, when it was very rampant. I'm not saying that it is over, it is still with us, but when it was very rampant and people had to seclude themselves, then we saw the need for partnership. And online partnership, online benchmarking activities still go on or are needed in our universities for the purpose of maintaining our digital transformations. We have collaborations with other universities that we have already established. We also have collaborations with professional organizations, like was mentioned. We also have collaborations with the industry, and these are key because they help us to strengthen the digital teaching and learning initiatives by capitalizing on the knowledge of experts in this particular space. I would like to conclude by mentioning that the digital transformation is key, because while our framework highlights those 7 areas that I have mentioned, it is a cyclic process. We move from one stage to another. It is very flexible. But as the advanced digital technologies evolved, there is need for us to take the initiative, because digital transformation has become a common place for higher education institutions. And for digital learning, it brings flexibility and accessibility to students, and it also prepares them to solve problems in the digital world. The transformation efforts also continue to shape the norms and the practices within higher education, so that it adapts and evolves parallel to the changes that are there within the society. And with the inception of the fourth industrial revolution and the consideration of the fact that our student population is the Z population, the Z generation, it is imperative that we cannot ignore digital transformation in our universities. As we consider the Vision 2030, which focuses on the economic, social, and political aspects, as we delve into the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17, all of them, they are relevant to us. It is imperative in our curriculum, in our teaching and learning, the content, in our delivery, in our assessment and evaluations. Digital transformation matters in higher education. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Professor Pamela. Let's give Professor Pamela a clap from wherever you are. It can be a digital clap. And the challenges that we are having in our webinar in terms of tech speaks to the importance of digital transformations, and what Professor Pamela has done is to, again, underscore the fact that higher education will find digital learning and digital transformations indispensable. The learning today is not going to happen in classrooms. It's going to happen on the internet, and Professor Pamela has taken us through the whole range of digital needs that we require, and it reminds us that we have to invest hugely and diversely in digital transformations for us to reap the benefits of this sector. I can see Dr. Gitaka is now ready to make his presentation. Dr. Gitaka is a physician scientist and is joining us to make us understand how innovations in the medical and health sector will contribute to societal development. Dr. Gitaka is the Director of Grants and Development at Mount Kenya University. Dr. Gitaka, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. I really want to appreciate your moderation today.
Can you hear him? Okay, thanks.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Thank you.
Super. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so today I want to thank everybody for showing up, for coming as we do this main event webinar to sort of set the stage for the coming 2 days, as tomorrow and Friday, when we have the University Research and Innovation Week. So to just give my contribution and add on to what my colleagues have already said, I'll be looking at briefly the multifaceted role of universities in health innovations towards achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 3, which is really focused on ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all at all ages. So we all know that universities really play a big role in terms of research and development. Indeed, universities are the places where we all learn, after our primary education. This is universities are the places where we go into our unique domains, be they in the sciences or in the humanities. And in the universities, we are expected, or this is a given, that besides the academic, besides the teaching mandate, there's also the research mandate and then the community outreach. So specifically, I'll be looking at the research and development mandate of the universities and how these, with specific examples, how this has contributed to development of health innovations or even products or services that we all enjoy when we're in good health and even when we fall sick. So just to start off, universities lead in health research, from fundamental to applied studies. So the most recent example is the development of the mRNA technology in the development of the COVID-19 vaccines that have led to the opening up of the world. We all know where we were in 2020 and 2021. We had serious closures. Hotels could not operate, universities could not operate, and so on. I mean, it was not a good situation. But fortunately, researchers out of University of Pennsylvania and other places had been working on the mRNA technology. And so it was easy at this point now for companies such as Moderna and others, Pfizer and so on, to quickly leverage on these developments that have been happening in the universities to design this, SARS-CoV-2 vaccine that became the game changer, for the world. And after several, jabs, it was clear that now people were not falling as sick as before, and with almost 199% protection against the serious disease, including admissions to ICUs. So fundamental research, the molecular aspects of things, be it in health, be it in products, be it in vaccines, be it in therapeutics and so on, diagnostics and so on, really is a major role of the universities. And then after this, the applied studies. So applied studies basically after the development of these things, of the products in the labs, we need to know how are these going to operate in the real world, and universities also play a big role in that. So ourselves at MKU, we have a very vibrant implementation research unit that really tries to look at how do things work in the real world. So we've done several studies, some commissioned by the World Health Organization, by the USAID, Government of Kenya, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and others, aimed at looking at how do products, including diagnostics, including guidelines, how do they operate in the real world, at the clinic, or in the community and so on. So this is something that universities need to do, and they're doing, but certainly much more needs to happen. The other thing is the training of next generation of healthcare professionals and researchers. This is a big role of the universities. The universities are expected to churn out high quality, graduates who will fill the positions that keep rising. We know as the world population increases, as challenges such as the pandemic and other, anticipated or expected pandemics come, we have a role to churn out or to produce a high quality, calibers of health workers, be they doctors, clinical officers, nurses, public health practitioners, and so on, laboratorians, and so on. So we need as we need to develop these people or to train them, they need to be imbued with research. They need to be able to ask questions, to hypothesize, and then to undertake the necessary methods to achieve desired, the results that will then inform policies and so on. So training is a key aspect of the universities. And here at MKU, we have a school of the College of Health Sciences, which is really at the forefront of doing this. We train doctors, we train clinical officers, nurses, dental technologists, public health practitioners, and so on. So we by playing this role, we know we are contributing to the development of Kenya and of course the region and the world at large, because our trainees are filling up roles all over the world. So, and we know we know this very well, that and it's been documented by the government, by the WHO and others, that we are still having serious deficits in our healthcare cadres, as well as in the researcher pool. Okay, so universities are playing this role, and they of course need the support of all other stakeholders, as has been alluded by my colleagues. The other thing is a contribution to health policy development through research. So we know that the world is evolving. The challenges that our communities are facing are evolving, mainly driven by mutating microorganisms, antimicrobial drug resistance, and just having said so, today we participated in the walk around Thika on the AMR to sensitize the community about the antimicrobial resistance, which is a growing problem. And so by conducting research, we can be able to generate data and findings that policymakers or even policy executioners can use to fine-tune their policies, to fine-tune the tools that they work with, and for the betterment of the communities. So universities have to really fulfill this mandate. Otherwise, if we don't do this, we know very well that our institutions, for example, local facilities, local departments of health, may not have the necessary skill set or manpower to undertake this role. So universities are filling this position, and in fact, many universities globally, are known to be at the forefront of advising even big organizations such as the World Health Organization. So the role is not just at the local level, but it transcends the local areas to national, to subnational, regional and continental in the world. So this is something that we are happy ourselves to be doing. From our research group, we have representation in several technical working groups of the Ministry of Health, including the one on malaria, newborn health, maternal health, antimicrobial resistance, and so on. So participation in these task forces enables the government to take advantage of emerging new knowledge or the data that is, coming out of the researches that researchers are performing, and therefore helping the policymakers to fine-tune their tools and to sort of get, feel a pulse on the situation and do the right things. The other thing is community engagement and public health initiatives. So community engagement, of course, as the things I've so far mentioned, may not achieve much if we do not engage the community. We need to engage our communities in a respectful, cordial, way, so that the community sort of appreciates the role of universities. And the universities need to come down. Previously, universities have been accused of, being ivory towers, where researchers will get hold on, living in their own brains. But we see that this is changing, and there's need for researchers to come down to the communities, talk to the communities, engage the communities, and know what problems are affecting the communities. Even as we design our research, as we conduct our research, we are cognizant of the challenges the communities are facing. And even after conducting our research, we need to go back and feedback the community. tell them this is what we found after what we did, and co-create or co-design, from co-designing, co-creation, and then co-development of solutions. Okay. By so doing, we will increase the trust that the communities have on universities and the researchers. So this is a huge role that universities really have to implement or execute. The other thing is we need to, as universities, we need to collaborate. We need to collaborate with various sectors to advance health research and innovations. So a classical example is really the partnership between University of Oxford and AstraZeneca for COVID-19 vaccine development. Ourselves, we have, as Mount Kenya University, we have partnered with Sysmex Corporation from Japan for development of diagnostics for malaria testing in the community. We have also partnered as Mount Kenya University with Shionogi Pharmaceuticals Limited. We've partnered with, as Mount Kenya University, with Roche for clinical trialing of drugs, and so on. So there's this need for collaborations and partnerships. We need to come together with industrial partners because on themselves, they are good. They are good in some aspects, including, for example, manufacturing. They have the technical persons, they have the equipment, and so on, infrastructure. But the universities, we have the knowledge, we have the the theoretical frameworks, we have the skills, we have highly trained people in the universities, okay, ranging from people with masters and PhDs and postdocs and professors and so on. So by leveraging on the skills from both sides, from the industry and the academia, I mean, you can see a lot can be achieved, synergy can be created. So these collaborations are essential, they are good, they can unlock the potential that lies between these two aspects of the ecosystem. And even more better, if we could be able to bring in the mix, collaborate with the industrial partners, collaborate with the community, collaborate with patient groups, people who could be suffering particular diseases, for example, asthma or COPD, and the industry and the academia, you can see that we are most likely to develop innovations that create an impact, innovations that will be useful to the patient groups or the patients themselves and even the general community. So partnerships are an essential ingredient for universities to prosper and to help the communities in which they work to also advance. The other thing is innovation and technology development. So we know we need new solutions to new problems. Okay, so we recently have been coming across the news that we're having new mosquito vectors. The mosquitoes that transmit malaria. We are having new breeds of these mosquitoes. Okay, we are having. I talked about this antimicrobial resistance. Bugs or pathogens which were previously sensitive to particular classes of drugs are now becoming resistant to those drugs. So in some of the instances, it's very scary because we are having a situation where we have less products coming to tackle the bigger problems. Okay, so this calls for innovation. This calls for new molecules, new drugs, new strategies. Okay, to be able to develop new tools or new products that then will help us to address or to address the new emerging problems. So it's really important that universities venture into the so-called blue sky ideas, blue sky things. We need to think and then come up with better solutions. We know climate change is really becoming a big thing. It's already a big thing. Ourselves, we can attest to that. We are seeing how a lot of rain is leading to flooding, and of course, with flooding, we expect there'll be challenges with the diarrheal diseases. Mosquitoes will increase as will be as will be the other vectors, and so on. So these new challenges, then call for new tools. And at the universities, we are tasked with developing this. So as I conclude, I also want to highlight that the universities need to develop global health networks and advocacy. We may do all the things I've mentioned. We may come up with new tools. We may have partnerships or collaborations, and so on. Train people, to the highest levels. If these people are not empowered to contribute to the development of the communities, then that's a problem. So at the universities, we then have this other role of advocacy. We need to keep talking to, especially the government, the political powers that be, to be able to now put public resources to enhance achievement of objectives that all these aspects that the university is working on to be of use to the community. So advocacy is something that we cannot run away from. So in fact, with this, I would like to give a challenge to the the all members here, and also to the powers that be in the university, to sort of enhance the dialogue between the researchers, between the academia, the industry, and also the political players. This could be your local MCA or local MP or Senate members, governors, and so on, even the presidency, to be able to advocate that resources can be put towards innovation, and also how these innovations can then move from the laboratories, from the universities, to support the communities, to work in the communities. And by so doing, we can the role of universities can be so clear to everybody. We don't need to hype it. It will be clear that universities are contributing to new knowledge generation, to new solutions that are useful to the community. And lastly, sustainability and health. We know we all aspire for long life. We all aspire for healthy lives. We need the community, our populations, to be healthy, to even as we want them to work in the economy, as engineers, as plumbers, as masons, as drivers, and whoever. We need all people in the community need to be healthy for them to do whatever they do every day. So as universities, we can contribute to good health by the strategies I just talked about, and by so doing, we will be achieving the Sustainable Development Goal number 3, and by so and also push towards sustainability and achievement of the rest of the other SDGs. So with that, I'm happy to quickly take a few questions if the moderator allows it, because soon after this I'll be logging out. So thank you very much. Back to you, Chair. Thank you very much.
A clap for Dr. Gitaka Jesse for a very comprehensive coverage of innovations in health and the medical sector. Dr. Gitaka, we greatly appreciate you've covered the whole breadth of the health sector, and you say that innovations in the health sector, the laboratories and universities that developed the COVID-19 vaccines must be smiling to the bank now, and it's because somebody invested in innovations.
Yes.
And you say that this must go along also with training, proper training, quality graduates in the health sector. This must also go along with the strong policy directions that are sensitive to the needs of the sector. And it was a whole coverage of the issues. So it's not just laboratory work that you do, but health sector must also be supported by communities and community engagements, by partnerships, co-creation. And Dr. Gitaka, we are grateful for your time.
Thank you very much.
If you have questions that you have for the Dr. please post them in the chat room, and he'll be able to respond to some of them. Thank you very much. Now we want to move out of the university and see what's happening out in the field. And we have our partners who have joined us today. I think we'll request Anthony. I think Anthony, or between the two of you, who is most ready or who wants to be last? We and argue that we save the best for last, but now we want to go out, and I think Anthony is here to now take us to agriculture. You've seen digital transformations, you've seen university links, we've heard about health. Now I think agriculture and innovations and resources to support the agricultural sector is important. And Anthony Mbithi joins us from the Family Bank, in charge of agribusiness, to see how innovations in the agricultural sector supported by money can contribute to societal development. Anthony Mbithi, please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Sorry. Thanks, Chair, Professor Mutundu. And good evening. I hope the time is right for us to say good evening to our online viewers. My name is Anthony Mbithi, as has been said. I lead the agribusiness unit at Family Bank. Family Bank is an indigenous bank with presence in 32 counties and 94 branches across the country. We offer a range of financial solutions, and agri financing is one of such. And since today, without deviating too far away from today's topic, I'll center my discussion around the area of agriculture and the innovations around agri financing. First of all, I think when we talk about agriculture and financing, it's good that for us to understand what we're really talking about, because agriculture is broad. We have agriculture, crops, we have livestock, we have fisheries, and all manner of things that you can relate to agriculture. But then there is also the financing aspect, or how do these players in all those subsectors access financing? And what is the role of research in all this, and how can banks be part of this? So I'm coming after the academia has spoken, and I think introducing this has to take which angle is this? A partnership angle. First of all, let's look at the range of the clients that we serve in agri-space. We have the smallholder farmers who play in the micro segment. We have the agri-SMEs, and we have the corporate. If you look at the different segments, there are different needs for the players who act in those. And then there are cross-cutting services and actors who also play in such. And I think that is where also now the universities come in as a support services for the value chains that are supported. Now, if I start with the lowest segment, and which has been the hardest nut to crack, the smallholder farmer. I think linking this with the theme of this conference of research and innovations, that is where most of this is wanted or is needed. Why? A lot of challenges that make financial institutions shy away from supporting this segment. One, of course, is the fluid nature of the actors in that space. They are not really concrete. They've not formalized their business. What they do for subsistence farming. There is nothing to show the bank or any financial institution that these people are in business. And so organizing at that level requires some engagement by other players outside the farming community. Now, risks that are inherent in this level are also many. The farmers are struggling with pests and diseases. The farmers are struggling with water conservation, soil conservation issues, which portend a risk to any financial institution intending to invest at that level. The question then comes, how can research institutions, universities, and other partners be of help to address these issues so that it becomes now a de-risking kind of approach that can help financial institutions say that at this level, we are sure that the farmer has the requisite knowledge, they have the requisite technology to deal with the risks that are inherent at that level. Now, when it comes to scale also, because if somebody has to move from subsistence to commercial, then scale becomes very critical. We're talking about smallholder farmers who have very small pieces of land. Without even acquiring more land to do that, how can we use the available land to optimize production so that the farmer has enough for their families and also excess now to take to the market and make some income out of it? And so when you look at, and I've been traveling across this country and beyond and listening to farmers and even processors, and I'll take an example of the dairy subsector, whereby most of the dairy processors who are operating way below their capacity. Why? They are not able to get the capacities that they require from their catchment zones. But then again, we ask ourselves, with the farmers, for example, if it's in the dairy industry setup, increase their herd so that they can deliver what is required by these processors, or it's to increase efficiency at farm level such that their small herds can produce enough to meet the gap that the processors are having. And that is where also now the financial institutions will come in and say, yes, this is a viable business. We are satisfied with the efficiencies. We are satisfied with the research that has gone into this. We believe that the risk that we are going to assume as a financial institution is worth it, and it will unlock maybe other possibilities for this. So that is where now the issue of finance, access to finance and research can also meet. Then it comes, before I leave the smallholder, they are there in their millions. How do we serve a segment that is so spread, taking care of the cost of business acquisition as a bank? Because most financial institutions are actually for profit. And some of the costs that the financial institutions will incur is actually the cost of going for that business. Now, you can imagine all the cost that goes into serving a customer in Wajir, in Garissa, and other places. Will the cost of doing, will it make a business case for us to go, for example, for a loan of, let's say, $3,000 in Wajir, and factoring all the costs that the bank will incur to get to that customer? But again, we ask ourselves, if we don't want to go there, how else can we ensure that this farmer nonetheless gets the services that they want? Then the issue of digital now comes in. Because with the digital, we can be able to spread ourselves across many parts of this country, across all the 47 counties, without incurring too much cost, and also increasing the efficiency at which we do this. And so one of the things that we are doing as a bank, and I'm talking about Family Bank, is ensuring that all the customers who borrow at that level, and at that level is $3,000 and below, are migrated to digital channels. such that they can be able to borrow from the comfort of their houses, from the comfort of their farms, and even repay the same loan through the same channels. A lot of work has gone into it, a lot of investment, a lot of innovation, and this has been done directly by the bank and in other cases in partnership with other fintechs in the industry. Because the solutions that we want to deliver to this agriculture sector cannot be delivered in a vacuum. We can't say as a bank we have the entire expertise to serve the sector, but we have other players in the market who, when we come together and harness the synergies, we are able to reach out to this segment and push the commercial agenda that we so want to see, so that we can lift our farmers from the poverty cycles that have been witnessed. Now, coming up to their bigger brothers who are now playing in the SME space, they still have their challenges. They are oftenly referred to as the missing middle. Why? The microfinance institutions find them too big to be served at that level, while the corporate banker sees them as too small, and so they miss out on the available financing opportunities that they have. And so for us to ensure that this critical segment, which is actually the engine of the economy, is not left behind, then a lot of innovations has to go into it and research. What is it that makes the segment unattractive to financial institutions? What are the barriers, and how can they be overcome such that capital can flow through the ag SMEs space? Then this is where now development financing comes in, whereby the development funds will help push for private capital to flow into the ag SMEs. So with the development funds coming in, maybe to do technical assistance, maybe to do guarantees and other de-risking measures, then the financial institutions can start raising the appetite towards the SME segment, and then capital will start flowing. This has been done, and in Family Bank, we have been at the forefront of inviting partnerships locally and beyond the borders to help us support the ag SMEs. And I think we are one of the leading banks currently that are really advancing financing to the ag SMEs through some of these partnership. For the corporate client, most of them are very stable. These are the people who are well-established businesses. They have books of accounts where reference can be made about their performance and their ability to repay a facility if at all they borrow. They are so advanced even in terms of access to finance through the digital channels and all that. And so we find it as as financial institution easy to deal with them at that level. But if we have to create meaningful impact in the ag space, then the first two segments that I've just discussed becomes very key to us. And in fact, as part of our strategy going forward, is now going directly to the smallholder farmer. Initially, we were going through the ag SMEs to serve the smallholder farmer, but now we have a strategy which is also anchored on a digital kind of a drive to serve the smallholder farmer directly, whereby now we can harness this, we can get the impact that we want. In this, we have support of various research institutions, and I hope and believe that our local universities will also come and play in that space. We've seen international universities or universities domiciled outside the country coming in with projects and seeking support of the financial institutions to implement programs. I'm currently implementing 2 of such programs, all funded and supported by institutions outside this country. It is my hope, Chairman, that we will see local universities as well playing in that space and seeking partnership with local financial institutions. Universities are recipients of research grants, and I hope and believe that some of these grants can also be directed towards the areas of access to finance by the agricultural value chain actors. And then that can write a very good story about the efforts that the country is making towards or towards inclusive finance, for that matter. Then looking at the demographics, the youth and women who are mostly left out when it comes to access to finance, we have to look for a way out and see how most of the time youth are not associated with agriculture. They tend to shy away from agriculture. They don't see it as a very decent kind of employment. But that is just in their imaginations, because agriculture really is the topmost employer, and not just here in Kenya, but beyond the borders as well. But the youth, being the majority in the African continent, are shying away from this. How can we make it possible for our youth to find agriculture attractive? It is through innovation, because this is a very energetic group. They like innovative ideas, and those innovations can just be found in agriculture, just like in any other field that they are showing interest in. And so some of these things that we are talking about going digital, we want to believe that youth can find it agriculture more appealing if we are using digital tools, both at the production and also at the financing end. If we can have requisite technologies at the production level, then we will have some pull effect there for the youth. If we have digital solutions along the value chains, even as you move up the value chain and even downstream, then we will have more youth engaged in this. Similarly, women, the most hardworking gender, a lot of studies have pointed out to how women can be of value to the conversation about commercializing agriculture. But they have their barriers, especially in the African setting, which is largely patriarchal society. How can we remove those barriers so that women can also play their role adequately in making agriculture work for the economy and also for their families? So those are some of the things that, from a financing perspective, I see as important. They are some of the things that we are doing as Family Bank, and my clarion call as I end this is we thrive on partnership, and some of the missing partners in our partnership portfolio is the local universities. And so I would be pleased to see leading institutions like Mount Kenya University coming on board with a solution or with a research proposal that has a financial inclusion agenda in it, and having a bank like Family Bank coming in to support in such. So with those many remarks or few, I want to end it at there. I believe if there are questions, they will be forwarded to me and I'll be able to respond. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you again. Clap for Anthony, wherever you are, digital club, and talking of digital clubs and other things related to digital. I think, Anthony, you've touched on a topic and an issue and a segment of the society that sometimes we don't put them into immediate prioritized consideration when we think about research and innovations, especially from a financial monetary perspective. and your focus on smallholder farmers and the risks that are associated with the smallholder farming vis-a-vis financial support is something that you have highlighted, and it's something that Family Bank is doing something about. And your clarion call to universities to put the research agenda of smallholder farming and financing is something that I think Professor Wanderi has had as a person with interests in entrepreneurship and the youth and also women. Professor Wanderi as Mount Kenya University is something that we will come together and discuss more and see how we can pick up some of the ideas that you have brought forward. Thank you again, Anthony, for joining us this afternoon. And if you have questions for the panelists, please jot them in the chat room. We'll be able to pick up some of them. I know you've extended this, but we had to listen to the very important contributions of our panelists. And our final panelist is again going out in the field to see what they can do for the community. And Ali Vandegwa comes as an engineer to make contributions to understanding of how farmers, agriculture, and water technologies can be used to, in terms of innovations to support societal development. Oliver joins us from the AgroTunnel International and Micro Advisory Africa. Oliver, this is your floor. You are the last, but I know you'll understand that we've had a long afternoon so that we can save a few minutes for question and answer. Oliver, this is your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I must appreciate the administration and management of the university. And also, I must appreciate the invitation through my other partners, FarmView and Asia Media. Today is a very interesting day to be in this facility in academia. I'm very excited to come and present something that after the other panelists, the other professors have already presented, especially on the SDG, and I'm also looking at what is the current country crime. I want to introduce myself as Oliver Ndego. I'm a son of Charles Ndego, who was a researcher and innovator from Alfred State University in America. He is the one who developed 614 maize for food production in Kenya. So he's a name that we respect, and I know the country respects. He won an award from late President Moi for developing 511 and 626 maize variety. Now, what does it mean when I give that story? Food production comes from what? Water. So I want to present something very interesting here. And if the camera can come near, I want to show two technologies that can mimic rain. If you look at this, if the panelists can get an idea, this is a very interesting irrigation system that is being used by Pivot for the large-scale farmers. Then I've got this other very interesting, it's called floppy irrigation, and it's an innovation that is being developed like a jet turbine to throw water up at a certain speed, that certain speed mimics rain. So here we've got a lot of irrigation technologies that are there in the marketplace. But now, have we involved the universities? How many PhD holders are there on greenhouse farming? How many PhD holders are there on water? I did install this in Kipeto, Kajiado County, with some students from KEWI, Kenya Water Institute, and they were very excited. I also had a program at the Nairobi County along Nyayo Stadium, but now there's a highway. It cannot be seen now, but on YouTube you can access it. So that is a very interesting, because what we're trying to do, we are trying to create what God created. I'm not disapproving drip irrigation, because that is what has been sold to cut cost on water and to support the smallholder farmers. Here I'm trying to say, the academia, the universities, can we know how much water is required per 1 acre for a maize plantation for the whole year? and which irrigation system will support. So I've just shown you two. I'm supposed to give a presentation slides, but I think it's going to disappoint me right now. But for the people who are going to throw questions, I can send them a PowerPoint presentation on the same. But now I want to discuss, so that this is a panel to discuss with academia, which is the university. I want to give an example. I've done a program of a challenge of dairy farmers, which is FODA. And we did a program with Makerere University, with Professor Kabasa, and late Kanzime. We did a program in Egerton University with Professor Kahi. And right now, sitting at Mount Kenya University, I'm looking at an opportunity of the pineapple plantation. How much water are they using? Which technology will they adapt to support the pineapple growth? Other countries, they adapt rain. Now here, if we mimic rain, can the Mount Kenya University go and do research with the pineapple so that we see how much money do they spend on their water? I don't know if it's okay to say, if you look at the plantation, there are too many pipes that are rotting on the ground. Now, what about the climate? And what about waste management? So I'm not promoting a new technology. I want it to be researched to see what value will it bring in to our people. Because you are near the pineapple growing region. Now, let's look at the people who are in Isiolo, Marsabit, the Asal region. Right now, I've got two projects I'm doing for a client in Rumuruti and Nanyuki. We are talking about a total of about 200 hectares. 200 hectares, he wants to grow food. Why? Because those clients are imagining the pressure that is there with Ukraine and Russia. We are putting too much pressure on our dollars to send the dollars out of the country while we can grow our own food. So what is the message? It's the rain. That is what is missing. All the research institutions like Carlo, I want to appreciate late Dr. Sijali, who was very influential and supportive in Carlo in the irrigation department, and also Dr. Lusike, who is the director of crops. We have done a lot of programs with her on the greenhouse. And right now, let's look. Greenhouse has failed. 70% of Kenyans have failed in greenhouse. Which university is given a doctorate degree on greenhouse farming? So we need to look at that, because that comes also with irrigation. What kind of irrigation do we need in a greenhouse farming? So we see so many people copying and paste. They pick something from the internet and try and use it in Africa. Greenhouses were meant for climate smart condition, whereby in Europe it's cold. You need a tomato, which is summer crop. Here we are trying to put a greenhouse in a hot area. Do you think the bank will finance somebody who's going to fail? So those are the questions that we need to throw to the university and to throw to the other administration of the new administration of President Ruto. Because President Ruto is very keen, and formerly because he was a minister of agriculture, he knows the pain that Kenya we are going through. He knows the pressure that is going through of ugali. Let's imagine what was the price of ugali in 1970 and the price of ugali in 2025 or 2024. So those pressures are coming because of rain, water. So we need to see how to manage water. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Things have been done. This irrigation system is done very well in Saudi Arabia. Look at Saudi Arabia. The soil is sandy. Sudan is sandy. How about our soils? Look at Kenya is 80% dry. Look at our next country, Uganda. They're very happy. President Museveni talks, oh, we have enough food. Why in Kenya we don't have enough food? We are importing 1 million chicken from Uganda in Nairobi every day. That's what is why we are consuming. So in Kenya, we are putting too much pressure to importation of food. Well, we can grow our food. All these dry areas, they can be converted. If you're seeing what is happening in Dubai and Israel and other countries, why not Kenya? So the main purpose here is the innovation in water. Drip is good to me for the gardener, but for the commercial farmer, he needs to know how much water is on the ground, how many hydrology experts are there, how many students from Mount Kenya University who have applied for agriculture and taken over management system, or let's say, let me give a competitor, a company like my friends who are Amaran, Irico, Syngenta, and the rest. Those people need experts from Kenya who understand our local situation. Thank you very much. I'm sitting here with an agri expert from the bank. The bank knows very well agriculture is high risk. But do we have a qualified student from Mount Kenya University who can come to the ground and help the farmer? Because the farmer needs to understand how much money am I putting in to get this crop. Right now, there's a big pressure of food. You saw the Kajiado County, the animals were dying. Why? Because of drought. What is the message of drought? Water. So let's go back and research. Let's put pressure to government or the Kenya Water Institute, because they're doing diplomas, they're not doing degrees. Let's have a collaboration with Mount Kenya University. Me, I'm very excited to bring in jobless students from the marketplace to come here to be alumni to develop projects. Those projects are in irrigation, in drip, in greenhouses, in crop design, hydrology design. Because can you imagine the traditions that people are using to go and check if there's a borehole? They're using wires. And that's a very crude way. Whereas right now we have moved to another world. So how many drilling companies, why are they charging 6,000 shillings per meter to do borehole? Why? So those questions, why doesn't the bank bring in money and we have students hiring the drilling machines and make a business? So because of the big challenge of water in Kenya, I'm not saying Africa, in Kenya, we need to look at how much money are we importing food. I don't know if I did a study. We're importing $100 million worth of food into the country. So how much are we exporting? I don't want to bring in politics. I want to give an example. In Saudi Arabia, Dubai, 1 kilo of avocado is $15. And how much is in the marketplace? 20 shillings. So why is the farmer getting 20 shillings and the other one is getting 15 shillings? Did he water the avocado well? So what was the missing link? Right now in Saudi Arabia, there's a need of meat. So the meat, if you look at, we need enough rain to get fodder for our animals, because the animals are dying of drought. So the message here is the technology that God created. Rain. So we need enough rain. And that enough rain, we need to sink boreholes, check why the borehole should give us enough water. Now, why am I insisting on irrigation? And this, especially this one. Because it mimics rain. When you throw water up, it will pick all the nitrogen, boron, zinc, and all this kind of thing. I'm not shooting myself on the leg. If you use drip, you have to apply fertilizer. So which fertilizer are we going to apply? For maize, are we going to apply the same fertilizer like for horticulture? We have broad leaves, which is maize, wheat, and barleys, and we have got the other one for horticulture. So we are going to use fertilizer of maize to choke farming of the horticulture. So all that understanding needs to be taken through the university. So the research and department and innovation, let's come up. Let's know how much water and fertilizer is required for a tomato, for maize, because a tomato we consume every day. Maize we consume every day. Wheat, bread we consume every day. Our chapatis and all this kind of thing. So in the Mount Kenya University, if I look at other competitors who have got TV stations like whatever, I don't want to mention the names because I'm being hosted by TV47. TV47, are you doing programs to encourage the farming community of the young people, to tell them how can you grow goat milk or chicken? Have you given stories about the tomato that is happening in Kagio? Why are people in Isiolo and other places not producing 50 metric ton of tomato in a small area? So all that. And why are we saying drip line, sprinkler is bad? All these things is the ethics. We need to open the brain of the farmer, because because the farmer is still there locked to the books of 1960s. Right now we are in the 20s. If I look at my age, I've just seen the three lives, the baby boomer, the other one, and now we are going to generation whatever. So let's look at 2050, 2030. Where are we going to be in agriculture? Is ugali going to be 1,000 shillings? Are we going to make ugali as like the UAE in Uganda? Uganda, you must have matoke, and it's cheap. For others, and for others, it's very expensive. Why is ugali very expensive in Kenya? Many people are going to ask questions. So we need a nutritionist. I've done a book on blood type and character and personality, and I see Kenyans. We are mostly Kenyans. We have type O. So type O, we are meat people. So there's a big demand for meat, and meat goes with ugali. So I'm giving this to reference that we need good technologies to support water management. We need to I don't know how many professors, if I go to ask Professor Kai, or I ask Professor in the panel, how many do you think will qualify to be a PhD holder in greenhouse or water management? Let's have them on another sitting so that we say, what is the challenge in Kenya? Because Kenya is arid and semi-arid. So with that said, I don't know if I still have more time to make a presentation on slides.
I don't know if they are working. Quite short on time.
Thank you very much. I will share the slides, the nice pictures about this. If you want a demonstration, we're having a demonstration soon in 2024. We'll give you details later. We are also going to collaborate with the Mount Kenya University. We'll have a demo here so that people want to come, they will come and see a demo and also get knowledge of how it works. Our 1 week program, which we'll talk with the professor and the academia and the management to see. And I'm promising I'm donating that one. So the university will only need to bring in the farmers and the students at a small cost. Thank you very much.
So Derry is a community person, and I know he's heard what you just said last. Water, Mount Kenya University, Thika Town, pineapples, water, Mount Kenya University, engineering. That's what you're trying to bring together. Is there a PhD student studying the amount of water you require to grow a slice of pineapple? We hear you, and what you have done well is to bring down the kind of global ideas that Professor Wanderi had on global partnerships and SDG. The discussion has gone through digital transformations by Professor Pamela, and then Anthony has isolated smallholder farmers and how can they be supported financially. And you've just concluded well with coming down to challenge universities and challenge our partners on what we can do as a country. When you talk about water, it is so scary that people are dying of water now. And just a couple of months ago, people were dying from lack of water. And now we have a lot of water for agriculture, but again, we'll not have enough food. And I think there's something missing. And that's what I think, Oliver, you've tried to bring on forth. I think that we have had our panelists, all of them, live on location at Mount Kenya University Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. And we have our internal panelists who have joined us live. We want to move closer to bringing the webinar to an end, but we can't do that before we hear the comments and questions from the participants who are online. And to help us on that, Dr. Mary Mugwe, you are online following up comments. Are you able to provoke our participants to channel their comments and questions to our panelists? Dr. Mugwe?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair, and all the
You can leave it.
What I can see that artificial intelligence be ethically and responsibly have a positive impact on sustainable development. Well,
Tech people, we
challenge or involved. The question was from her. Hello, have I been heard?
can you just try to come back and see?
Okay. I have said thank you so much for the presenters. I don't know whether you can hear me now.
Yes.
For Professor Pamela Ochieng. And the question is, how can the integration of emerging technologies, for example, ethically and responsibly navigated their positive impact on sustainable development while mitigating potential risks and
Where I'm seated, we seem not to be following you well, but to just
I'm sorry.
your
Yeah.
efforts here, I can see, if you can hear me, I can read a question for Professor Pamela, and if Professor Pamela is in still, I can still see her. There is a question for you, and maybe you yourself are able to read. How can the integration of emerging technologies, for instance, artificial intelligence, be ethically and responsibly navigated to maximize their positive impact on sustainable development while mitigating potential risks and ensuring equitable access and benefits for all stakeholders involved? Professor Pamela, the advent of AI and artificial intelligence is those who will probably take advantage of it now are going to be the billionaires and the superpowers of tomorrow. Yet again, the challenges that we have had with the information technology seem also to be a threat through artificial intelligence. Are you able to just comment how communities, societies, institutions of higher learning can deal with artificial intelligence, if you can hear us?
I think she's still muted.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you go ahead, Professor Pamela?
Yes. With regard to the new technologies that have come up, particularly mentioned is the artificial intelligence. The world of academia has a way of mitigating this. If you look at the Turnitin, the anti-plagiarism software that we normally utilize with regard to checking on the plagiarism level for our postgraduate students at the university, there is an element of determining the artificial intelligence. And I tend to think that as we advance more and more, we are also going to come up with various innovations that will enable us to mitigate the challenges that come up that come along with the issues of innovation. So yes, it is with us. The innovations are with us and the challenges are equally with us, but the universities, depending on what they utilize, they can be able to come up with innovations to manage the challenges that come up as a result of these emerging technologies. There are various examples. We have various non-governmental organizations, both local and international, that deal with the development of softwares. Like currently, the proctoring machines that we have, there are very many challenges that came along with it, but the mitigations that have been put in place are able to help us know and equally adapt to certain policies that we have developed and guidelines that will enable us to sail through. With regard to the equitability, we put to perspective the audio and the visual so that we can be able to take charge of those who are enabled differently. And this can be well demonstrated by the resources that are utilized, particularly in our e-learning portal, among others. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. I hope I can be heard now. Can I be heard, Chair?
Sorry, we can hear you.
It's not a question. Maybe you can. The question still goes to Professor Pamela. And the question is about that there's these two groups. Some of them is the Z generation and the older generation. And you have talked extensively about the interactions and what has been put in place by the university. What are some of the challenges are you facing? And how do you see yourself maybe 5 years from now? Thank you very much. Professor Pamela?
Well, I would say the two generations are different, but through the online platform, we have been able to bring them together, and the social interactions, pulling up those who are down and pulling down those who are up so that they can be able to manage from a common level. The challenges are vast. The Generation Z are those that are always on their phones. They are always seeking to isolate themselves. But the other older generation, they reach out to them and they are able to interact with them. Through training and training for both the staff and the students, these two generations have been brought. They have been brought at par, and we can be able to communicate with them at the same level. The creation of the learning communities that we have at the campuses, both the online and the face-to-face communities that we have online, have enabled us also to consider their challenges and be able to mitigate the challenges appropriately. I'm not so sure because you're breaking. I'm not so sure whether I've been able to answer that question adequately. But the fact is that both generations intermingle in the online platform, and therefore we can be able to reach each and every one of them, both at individual level and at community level, and address their problems as they come. Our platform, the learning management system, is created in such a way that we can be able to address the individual needs of each and every learner. The live system, where we have the teams meetings and the teams interactions, enable us to reach out to them and adequately address their issues as well. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Pamela, thank you very much. We have.
You're breaking.
A question from Namal.
Pardon? You're breaking.
Namal, looking forward in comes, what risks are we looking going forward? There are some risks when it comes to artificial intelligence. There are some risks.
Are you talking about the risks of artificial intelligence? Of course, the risks are there, but necessity is the mother of innovation, and therefore the risks can be addressed as we progress on. The emerging technologies are able to mitigate some of these risks. Like when we talk of analytics, we are able to know the issues that the students and the staff are likely to encounter. And from that, we can be able to make pertinent decisions that can help us to avoid the risks for the future. And we also address the issues as they come. Artificial intelligence has also been known to kind of provide a risk of people losing their jobs, but in the process of losing your job, you also become creative enough or innovative enough to come up with an entrepreneurial activity that at the end of the day will also benefit those that are around you. So what I'm saying, Daktari, is that necessity is the mother of innovation, and therefore we should not fear the risks that come as a result of digital transformations. The mitigations that we provide are capable of making it better, not only for ourselves, but for those that are within our environment as well. Thank you.
Comment from Professor Wanderi. And Professor Wanderi says to everyone, innovation is a vital link between academia and industry. It is a product, a service, and a useful strategy of improving our interactions as we work jointly for the good of the community. Maybe if there be a minute or so, our moderator will be able to help us and listen to that. And I take it back, and I really appreciate for this comment. To you, Professor, the chair.
Yes. Okay, I think I have a bit of. Tech people, I get totally lost. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mary, for helping us out on this segment. Perhaps you can give it just a little more 5 minutes to see what comments there are. I know Professor Wanderi has made some contributions there from a number of issues that he participated in. I had with your permission, Dr. Mary, as the person in charge of this session, I wanted to check with Anthony. You challenged universities to think of research to support farmers. You know, universities don't have money for research. It is organizations, including banks, that have money for research. So what we do, we put together proposals and we approach funding agencies, including banks, to support. And Mount Kenya University is famed for a very strong business and economics program that I know would be very interested in research in smallholder farming and financial support. Does Family Bank have a research budget?
Yeah, Family Bank doesn't have a research budget, but there is a lot of financing that is flowing in this continent, especially from the development partners. We've seen a lot of funding coming through climate change initiatives. We've seen financing coming through inclusive finance, whereby women and youth are being targeted in this. We're also seeing ASALs areas not being left behind. What can be done to, especially the pastoralists in the ASAL areas. And most of this financing is now being channeled through financial institutions, so that the program can also take a commercial shape. Unlike in the past when it was grant-based and at the end of the program, then the initiative also dies. For sustainability purposes, we are seeing a lot of these development partners channeling their financing through our financial institutions. And I think that is where institutions like MKU can also come in and play as a research institution that can support. For example, with farmers facing the threat from climate change, droughts here, what solutions from a research perspective do we have? Then that can draw some financing, whereby now a financial institution, a university or a research body for that matter, can come in and solve a particular challenge. In as far as that is concerned. So in as far as Family Bank may not have a budget for research, it can also be a conduit through which some of this financing can come through, and then we leverage partnership to deliver the much needed support to the farming community.
You know, you're still in charge of this session. Now you hand it over officially, but through you, we have Oliver who wants to make a comment, and I think I'll take that to be his final comments, and then we can bring the
Okay, thank you. Much appreciated. When you threw the question to the banker has got money and his business is money. So I want to help you, and we say the purpose of Mount Kenya University is to train people, skill and whatever, and do research. So why don't I bring in a model? They have CSR. All the development partners, they've got CSR. Why don't we start with one program? I know the government is doing it. Farmer profiling. So when we do farmer profiling, the farmer has got money to give you. Let's imagine if the farmer, we ask him to give you $1. That $1, and we have got a farmer population of 6 million farmers. That's $6 million in Mount Kenya University. So we develop a program for farmer profiling. We ask the farmer, what is the problem? Me and my team, if you see the banner behind, I've got a team, we have started developing something similar, because we are looking at a farmer profiling of 30 million farmers within the East Africa, with pork properties in America. They're online and they're listening. So, looking at the money, what do you want money for? Research for PhD holders, or research for drought, or research for this? So we can develop that with farmer profiling, so that we don't put pressure to the development partners because of corruption in Africa. We collect money from the farmers for research. Now we are going to AI. I just had the other lady professor talking about AI. That AI, if we make the farmer to understand, then we will use AI machine learning to make benefit to the farmer. And that's why I'm sitting here with a small box called MAP. This is a media access point whereby we can give the farmers content of agriculture without internet. So let's imagine they've subscribed $1 a month to the account of Mount Kenya University for a program on horticulture. So why don't you think we can develop a syllabus and say, we are going to accredit extension officers, we are going to accredit programs whereby the bank will finance the farmer, because the bank understands financing the farmer. So we collect the $1, and then we tell the bank, this person has got his credit worth $100. And then you take your dollar. So with that, looking at that and looking at the population and Mount Kenya University, if you make a lot of noise, people will understand. Thank you very much, sir.
I think we had a very productive long afternoon. If Dr. Josephat Njuguna, you are online, Principal College of Health Sciences, coming to you via Professor Wanderi, who will make his final comments as Dr. Njuguna, if you are there, please, I would like you to close for us with the comments and wishing us a fruitful research and innovation week. Dr. Njuguna, unmute.
Yes, Professor, I can hear you.
Yes, you are there. Thank you, but let's Professor Wanderi make one or two comments as you prepare to close the webinar for us officially. You don't have to pray. Thank you. Dr. Njuguna is standby, but Professor Wanderi, please, your remarks, and then Dr. Njuguna.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just one point is that, remember, I referred the academia to SDGs or global goals. And remember, I say that every researcher has to know his or her area of interest and relate it to SDGs or to the global goals. And this does not only, because I saw a comment, does it only affect or involve the manufacturing industry? The word industry here is inclusive. When we are in academia, we are talking of schools being industry. When we are in the universities, we are talking of churches being part of our industry. We are talking of hospitals being the industry. We are talking of going out to the forest as part of the industry. But also the manufacturing sector is very important. I remember with reference to SDG now, but with reference to the Vision 2030, the former president of Kenya had manufacturing industry as one of his targets of development. And we are saying that it is all encompassing. My request is that let us pay attention to SDGs. Let us know which is this organization that support these, which SDG. And on the platform of SDGs or global goals, let's reach out as the universities to the industry, to those people in the community who we feel need our services. And I'm sure the sky will be the lower limit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Wanderi, for your time and for supporting the webinar. We appreciate your presence here, and I know some of the issues and ideas that we have had this afternoon are some of the ideas that are close to your heart, and you will guide us in how we can pick some of them. We have a senior member of staff at Mount Kenya University, the Principal College of Health Sciences, Dr. Josephat Njuguna, who will make final remarks, and then Jesse, our own Jesse, will wrap up the webinar, and we see each other in the field tomorrow or whatever our work will bring us. Dr. Njuguna, please, unmute. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes, I take this opportunity to thank all the panelists that have participated in this webinar. We are grateful because I think we have shared quite some important information. I think as academician, I think there is a good reason of interacting with the people out there so that we feel their challenge, and then we see how we can incorporate what we know to solve their problems. I think it is a very resourceful webinar where I think it has opened eyes to us, where it has told us that, like in my field, we are always more on the health. But today my mind have been triggered in terms of thinking of how you can bring rain which was very encouraging. So we thank all the members, we thank all the participants. Thank you, and then we hope we'll be having this quite often. We hope the people out there, they can be bringing to us these challenges. I think Professor Wanderi, you need to interact with as many as people out there so that they can be bringing to us some of these challenges and we think about it. So thanks a lot, everybody, all the participants who have attended. And I think we are together. We hope we'll make life better for mankind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Indeed, it has been a beautiful afternoon here from Vika, Kenya. We have had an interactive session where we have added knowledge and we also have added perspective to ourselves. I want you to do a digital clap kindly in your online. Kindly, let's do a digital clap. Wonderful, wonderful, a digital clap for all of us. We really appreciate. This is just the start of wonderful, good things that are coming on board. Kindly join us tomorrow from 09 hours East African time when we'll be getting live to our conference, and I'm sure that you are going to really enjoy. To the team that has facilitated this, to the team that has been leading this, to our panelists, to our moderator, and everybody who has participated in this, indeed, we are honored and grateful. This we say with a lot of gratitude that let us meet tomorrow as we advance this knowledge and make sure that indeed we are a blessed generation. Thank you so much. Let's meet tomorrow at 09 hours East African time. Thank you so much. God bless you so much. Asanteni.